very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Evening Review. My name is Toivan Jabela. Before I introduce our guest for tonight, let's go for a quick message of condolence in honor of President Hage Geingob from the National Road Safety Council.
On behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, I extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the former First Lady, Madam Hage Geingobs, the bereaved family, the relatives, friends, and the entire Namibian nation on the sudden passing of our beloved President, His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingobs. His leadership, resilience, and firm belief in systems, institutions, and processes will forever be kept and cherished in our hearts, as well as his belief in unity, inclusivity, and equality. I, on behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, join the rest of the nation in mourning the passing of our distinguished leader. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Yeah, Dr. Tangeni Iijambo is the Swanu Member of Parliament, and he this week made a very bold request for government to look into the circumstances around the death of President Hage Geingob on the 4th of February. Of course, his suggestion has caused quite a stir, and we just brought him to the platform to hear from him. Doctor, it's such a great moment to have you here, mostly because of the freshness of that request that you made in Parliament. People didn't take kindly to your request, saying the timing is poor, people are mourning, why are you stirring controversy in such a manner? If you can engage us what the principle was for your request.
Jabela, thank you very much for having me. I'm pleased to be here. I think this is my second time to be here, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
The controversy and Tangeni are two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person who actually is afraid to be referred to as controversial.
Yeah.
Because as a person with philosophical background, I used to teach philosophy of education at UNAM. Controversy is actually part of life.
Yeah.
Life itself is, we don't even know what it is, so it's very controversial. But before I respond to your direct question about the president's passing, look, Toivo, this is a head of state of a country. And regardless of the difference I personally had with him in terms of not only different parties, even on a personal level, regardless of those differences, he was still my president because he's the president of Namibia.
Yeah.
He was the president of Namibia. So let me first of all, again, for the maybe third time now, give my sincere condolences to the bereft family, extended bereft family, to all Namibians, because all Namibians should feel it as well,
Yeah.
as I am feeling it. And to Africa indeed, if not to the world as well. My sincere condolences, and let his soul rest in eternal tranquility. Now, controversy is, to go back,
Yeah.
controversy is part of life, Toivo. And change is actually a law, an established law of nature. No one can wish it away. So we all read about our president not being well, but having done a brave thing to go be tested in some cells, cancer cells were detected in him. He was brave enough, he went for treatment, and I'm sure his physician would work with him accordingly until it is either controlled or... But then the worry into me, and I hope in many Namibians as well, not only myself, was the last 6 days. Because we were made to understand that he was offered free treatment in America. On that one, I don't know of a capitalist country that will treat someone for free. So the questions that are in the paper as to who he went with, whether his physician went with him, whether utmost care, even intelligence guys was there, one of them at least, to accompany the president for such treatment. And my worry was, when he went to America, he was walking and very able and talking, and maybe while I'm there, I believe if most of us are tested in this country, maybe half of us will be detected with sorts of diseases, including cancers. And some of it actually came with life change. Because during our days when we used to eat our raw food and our very traditional food, some of these diseases were also not that prevalent. But now with so-called development, we get all these diseases because of this lifestyle and so on. So you will find that a lot of people, if tested, will be detected with cancer cells or something like that. Now, he went to what the world conceives as a superpower, invited for that matter because of what was detected. So he should be in very extra care as a president. Yeah. But now, within those days, he comes back and straight to the ICU from a superpower. I think that's really very intriguing. And I think it's worth investigating, that's why. I do not have answers, Njebela, I must tell you. But I feel, as a responsible citizen, I feel that the nation has a civic responsibility to know as to what transpired.
A good question. I think it's a good question.
Or analogy.
Yeah. No, I mean, the point that you raised in Parliament, a lot of people, it's not, at least you were just brave to say it public. But there's a lot of people who are saying, the pace at which everything happened,
I mean,
the
honestly,
secrecy around who actually bankrolled, because we are told the president was picked up from the country, we don't know by who. That information has never been made public. Went to the USA. He was supposed to come back on the 2nd of February. He came back earlier on the 31st of January. And everything, 5 days later, the head of state had passed on. I think the questions are legitimate. Let's talk about the timing. People are saying that the timing is incorrect. Why is the timing incorrect?
Njebela, I believe, first of all, human beings are social beings. Besides our being social beings, perceptions of things or issues, even in class with your classmates when you were in standard 6 or whatever class, when the teacher is telling you things or teaching you, not all of you perceive what he or she is telling you the same way.
Yeah.
And so we perceive things, and I think we should make peace with that, because we come from different orientations, different cultures, different education systems, and so on. So we should accept to be able to perceive things differently or at different levels and times. Mm. So you wait until the president is buried, and you know better, in journalistic terms, it's already kind of late to kind of query. What? Some will ask, why didn't you ask while he was not buried? You see what I mean? Yes. Because we are, human beings are controversial in themselves because we perceive things differently.
There are those who are going to say, look, the man has been buried, the topic is now closed.
So forget about it.
Yeah.
So let's not even go there anymore. You are opening wounds or something like that.
Yeah.
But then in Namibia, we seem to also have a very bad culture of not or maybe it's ignorance. We are ignorant about our rights. We should recognize that we are a sovereign country, and we are in a democratic country that allows freedom of speech or association. So to stifle my thoughts, while I think the right time is now, it's actually retrogressive to the country itself also, or to Africa for that matter. Let me bring you some of the controversies that I had personally with the president. You see, everyone is praising his directorship of the United Nations Institute for Namibia. I am not guessing or saying apparently, because I applied also in 77, 75, 76, 78. I applied to the institute, and my group, because we were regarded as rebels then by Swapo, could not be admitted to the institute. Yet we considered ourselves smarter than those who were at the institute at the time, because we did our secondary education in Zambia.
You applied for jobs or for admission?
For admission to be students, to go study there. And as I say, our background is, after we resigned from Swapo, we went to school. So we did our secondary education in Zambia. And that's why you don't hear Namlish in me.
You were part of the Shipanga group?
The group was not actually Shipanga. And that's why I'm also asking Namibian journalists to up their standard a little bit. Shipanga was just lumped together with a group of youths that were demanding the Congress.
Yeah, but they call it a Shipanga group.
They call it that, but it's not what it is. That's what I'm saying to you. It is called that because they wanted to lump it together in order for them to escape or get away with it. But the reality is, you see, reality will always prevail, whatever it takes, how long it takes. It will always prevail. So, but anyway, I was one of the group that they called Shipanga, and we ended up at a place called Boroma Concentration Camp or Hill of Isolation. It has many names. We refer to it as the University of Boroma, because that's where we picked up a lot of experiences and witnessing Namibians dying unnecessarily. Or being abused by the Zambian army, which was, of course, employed by Swapo then, because it's Swapo who asked the Zambian army to guard us, and so on. So, controversy, to start with, is part of life. And there is no appropriate time for controversy.
So what was the issue with your application? Did the president, the deceased president now, played any role in, because you said you had some sort of personal experiences.
Differences.
Differences.
Yes. For example, when he was, when President Hage, by the way, before I even say this, let me tell you, in the 34 years of Namibia's independence, he is the best president we had. In terms of understanding and unifying the people through his ideology of the house. Although the house lacked a lot of.
Are you sure about that? I mean, of course, it's everybody has.
Everyone has their opinion, their own opinion, and they are entitled to.
Yours is that he's.
As far as I'm concerned, meritocracy is much better than lay or saying that you are a good president, but behind your goodness is no understanding for how things should be done. He had that, and that I think he should be credited for. But as I said, while he was chairperson of SADC, in one of his State of the Nation address, I suggested to him to make a milestone by reversing, because as far as I'm concerned, we will not develop as Africans if we don't reverse what was deliberately done for us to remain behind. We need to reverse the Berlin establishment and the Odendahl Commission, all these things. So I asked him to say something so that Africa doesn't function on the contemporary borders that was actually crafted in Berlin 1884. But then his answer to me was that, surprisingly to me, that AU recognized those borders. So we have to just make do with them.
Yeah.
To me, that was not a very sufficient or satisfactory answer.
But I understand the president's take.
I understood
that-
it too.
Yeah, no,
But-
but I'm just saying that the practicalities now are just, we are going to actually to burn down Africa in one go if
Then rebuild.
yes. I mean, we have an issue along the Namibia-Angola border where a lot of Shivambo-speaking people who consider themselves more as Namibian than Angolans live inside Angola. But if we were to go to Luanda today and say, comrades, let's readjust these borders, it will only cause havoc, because I don't think any African country today is prepared to give up their jurisdictions.
Jebela, life come out of havoc.
Yeah.
The way we believed of a big bang or apparently creation is all cow dung.
Yeah.
The people who even who wrote the scripts that became the Bible today didn't have the slightest understanding how the universe functions, how the emptiness or the infinity functions, where there are galaxies and different stars and so on. And so causing a havoc by undoing what was done in Berlin by Europeans is actually the way to go, because I dare quote Bob Marley here. Total destruction is actually the only solution. You have to destroy first in order to build.
Okay. Yeah. No, I hear you. So let's quickly, because time is not on our side, but let's talk about, so your party, Swanu, has issued a statement saying they disassociate itself from Dr. Tangeni Iijambo's investigative or investigation proposal.
Who signed that?
This is from Sem Shikudu, who presents himself as Secretary General of your party.
I remember you having hosted that gentleman here
Yes.
also. And
Yes.
in most of his statements, it was neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Because it's a group that seem not to know what they want. First of all, they are going to pay a lot of money by using Swanu logo. Our case with them at the court is that they should not use the party memorabilia, neither should they depict themselves as Swanu, because they are not Swanu. They are just a group of renegades who, out of jealousy, tribalism, and selfishness, thought that they will succeed with what they did. But unfortunately, they are at the receiving end, and now maybe they will have to sell all their cows in order to meet the bill for even using that logo. Mm. The current president of Swanu, who succeeded me, is Metarere Evilastus Karonda.
Yeah.
My Secretary General, who is acting Secretary General at the moment, is Unoherang Engari. Anything apart from those officials, and the chairperson is Siriri Kanjode Mugatera. Anything other than from those, and I'm the parliamentarian of Swanu. So anything out of that, those people I mentioned, is bogus. It's not Swanu.
It's not
because Swanu operates from its headquarters in Katutura, where we had a meet. Today is Thursday. Where we every Tuesday have our. You are invited to come and sit in 5 minutes in our Politburo meeting.
Okay.
The Swanu that is actually carrying the name forward and which consider itself the alpha and omega of Namibian politics.
Yeah.
Because it's only unfortunate that Namibians also were either brain damaged or too ignorant to understand, but the whole country should actually be Swanu, because its establishment is to get the land back, our rights back, and our freedom, sovereignty, as for all Namibians, regardless of. And this is the only party, by the way, that was also not started on tribal basis. because all Namibians came together to form resistance against colonialism and imperialism.
Yeah, so it's one thing, Honorable Iijambo, to say that the party was not started on tribal lines, but if an entity eventually morph into a tribal entity, which is largely really Swanu today, it's yes, we have an island, an isolated case of Dr. Iijambo, whom I don't believe is Herero, but he's still a Herero party. Let's call a spade a spade.
No, I strongly disagree with that.
Swapo is actually more diverse in its makeup today than Swanu is.
And remember, Swapo is Oppo. And started as Oppo. I'm talking about the orientation, the beginning.
But it has evolved into a much diverse organization.
I am with you. The evolvement didn't necessarily just inculcate or included Hereros. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, Swanu of Namibia has about 7 branches in the north. And that was partly because of my administration also. And it's not only Iijambo who is an alternative surname in Swanu. You find the Kambais, the Titus. There are quite a number of Oshuambo-speaking people now and many other ethnic groups, actually. Mind you also, the other great factor that I must mention, Namibia having been exposed to, let me put it blunt, capitalism orientation. Most Namibians would like material stuff and would like to glamour and all these things. Swanu is a socialist party that wants every Namibian to benefit from the country's resources. Yeah. Remember a few years ago, I came up with a proposal, although our proposals, especially mine, as Swanu, I don't know, or as Tangeni, maybe because of my former years with Swapo as a plant fighter, they seem to be reluctant to accommodate anything that comes from me. Yeah. And that is maybe because, and I will give you an example, the policy of national reconciliation is so necessary that if I have to give you scenarios, Toivo, there's no baby in the world that will start running without crawling and first walking. So if we say we have achieved reconciliation while we don't have even one volume written or at least a document, we are actually playing. South Africa has 5 volumes, Mozambique 2, Zimbabwe 2, Angola maybe 1 or 1.5. Volumes written about reconciliation. So the much sought of 4, one Namibia, one nation, will never be achieved before we reconcile. We have to do the first things first.
I hear you. In 30 seconds, Doctor, what is Swanu's grand plan ahead of the 2024 general elections? Are we going to see the party disappear completely from the National Assembly, or are we going to see more bodies joining the National Assembly and other, the National Council, for example?
Disappearance of Swanu is an uncalled for statement. Yeah. That will never happen. Because as I said earlier in the beginning.
From Parliament, not from the face of earth, from Parliament.
Only from Parliament.
Yes.
The way we are mobilizing our people right now, and them having had a chance of 32 years of failed swaponomics, I think once they understand what we want to employ and establish and maintain in Namibia as Swanunomics is perseverance, hard work, understanding, so that we all, as Namibians, work as a unison. I don't think we will even have a any issue with competition for voting. And once Namibians understand what Swanu stands for, so that everyone have roof over their head, bread on their table, I think Namibians will eventually realize that this party means business, and they really want to safeguard the country.
Wonderful. Doctor, it's always a pleasure engaging you.
It's a great pleasure for you to have me in Jabela, and I hope I will come back again
Yes,
soon.
please. No, this year we are going to have you more often.
Yeah, no, we need to engage, and there's a lot of stuff that people need to, especially those who were exposed, who left this country and came back.
Yeah, no, that is Swanu, Member of Parliament, Dr. Tangeni Iijambo, speaking to us tonight on the show. Thank you for watching.